Iz Atine nam se sada direktno pridružuje Konstantin Mikalos, predsjednik Atinske privredne komore. Mr. Mikalos, welcome to the Al Jazeera Business. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. First of all, let's start with the obvious question. What's the mood like in Athens after this week's visit from Frau Merkel?
Well, there's obviously more optimism following the visit by Chancellor Merkel. I think the fact that we had the verbal support coming from her as far as Greece's future in the Eurozone is concerned is a positive sign, provided, of course, that we proceed with the necessary drastic and deep reforms. Of course, at the same time, we're hoping that there will be a growth package, because austerity upon austerity will simply not produce the desired results. And following the summit conference on the 18th of October, I think that it is ripe, the situation is ripe, so that we can begin to discuss a stimulus for the economy.
Okay, that being said, we know that your country is entering the 6th year of recession, so frustration doesn't even come too close to actually explain how the Greek people feel right now. So I got the feeling that not everybody was exceptionally happy with a visit from Merkel, because we heard in one of the sound bites that one of the Athens people said, well, she didn't bring in the money. So I don't think the trust is key issue with that being able to reestablish during the course of five-hour visit, don't you think?
Well, at least there was a visit, and I should remind our viewers that Greece had created a credibility gap over the last 2.5 years. So we needed to regain this credibility, and I think that the new government, headed by Prime Minister Anthony Samaras, has worked towards that goal, and I think that we have made progress as far as our credibility is concerned, and therefore the visit once again signifies that at least Germany, and I feel the rest of the Northern European partners, want Greece to remain part of the Eurozone. Obviously, at the same time, one needs to say that if Greece were ever to depart, it could be the end for the Eurozone itself. So it's a situation of you hold me and I hold you. What we need, however, to understand on a pan-European level, and especially needs to be a message that will be conveyed by the European South, is that unless we enhance growth into our economies, unless we stimulate our economies, I fear for the Eurozone itself, not just for Greece, not just for Spain, Italy or Portugal. It's going to be the Eurozone as a total. So we need to change the mentality on our economic policy, which needs to be followed from now on.
Okay, let's talk from your perspective, somebody that works in Athens Chamber of Commerce. I guess this atmosphere doesn't help you at all. So from your point of view, how can you actually do business when most of the, for example, small shops in Syntagma and city center just in Athens are closed in 60% and 70% of, in some cases? I guess the job is not easy, that's more than obvious, but how do you cope it professionally?
This is exactly the reason why we have been pressuring the government, the previous government, today's government, in order to change this mixture of economic policy, precisely for the reasons that you've just mentioned. There's been 68,000 businesses that have closed down over the last 20 months. Unless we change our economic policy, the ACCI study group has projected that by the end of the year, we're going to have an additional 36,000 lockups. It's precisely for this reason that we need to come up with necessary reforms. First of all, on the taxation front, the Greek economy is simply overtaxed. The total business tax rate at the moment, taking into account all the extraordinary taxations that have been imposed over the last 2.5 years, have got a total tax burden of 52% on Greek businesses. We need to reduce red tape and bureaucracy. There have been steps in the right direction, but we need to follow a much quicker pace as far as this aspect of the economy is concerned. And of course, we need to make all the necessary preparations for new investment, internal investment, but also external investment. And in order to do that, we have to have a stable condition as far as our economy and society is concerned. And this is where I think that Mrs. Merkel played an important role, in the sense that she has verbally confirmed that Greece was, is, and will remain part of the Eurozone.
Mr. Mikalos, thank you so much for this insight. It's very appreciated. Thank you a lot.
Thank you very much.